Read the classroom descriptions. Discuss with your partner if you think it is describing a traditional classroom or a modern classroom. Then put a check in the column that represents your answer, and then underline one piece of evidence from the description that supports your answer. Okay, here we go. Scene number 1. Lenny and Darla walk into class and go to their assigned seats on opposite sides of the room. The bell rings and the teacher says, "Open your books to page 13. Lenny, will you please start reading?" When Lenny is done, the teacher passes out a worksheet and tells the students to work independently to answer all the questions and to turn it in by the end of the hour. Is this a traditional classroom or a modern classroom? Choose one and then underline one piece of evidence from the scene that supports your answer. Number 2. Jimmy just started lesson 4 on density. After completing the first activity in Schoology, he realizes he's a little confused about the concept. He knows Owen has finished lesson 4, and he walks over to ask him a few questions. The teacher notices the boys working together, walks over to them, and asks if they need any help. Owen says, "Thanks, we're good. Jimmy just had a couple questions about density, so I'm trying to help him understand it a little better." The teacher says, "Great to see you two working together. I'm here if you need me." They work together until Jimmy is no longer confused and is able to move on to the next activity in lesson 4 independently. Okay, what do you think? Is it a traditional classroom or a modern classroom? Choose one and then make sure to underline one sentence in scene 2 that supports your answer. Scene 3. Carson is freaking out because for the past 2 nights she's had soccer practice and dance class until late in the evening and has literally had no time to do all of her homework. Last night she chose to finish her social studies project, and by the time she got done it was too late to study for the Chapter 7 test. Today is the only day to take the Chapter 7 test, and even if she fails, she can't revise and take it again. Ugh. What do you think? Is it a traditional classroom or a modern classroom? Choose one and then underline one sentence that supports your answer. Scene number 4. Mr. Jones walks into the classroom to talk to the teacher. He stops for a moment to watch what's happening. He notices some students working on a lab together. Some are wearing headphones and listening to a video on their computers. A couple students are discussing and writing answers to questions on a worksheet, and a few students are working independently on mastery checks. Mr. Jones is so impressed that he compliments the class on having excellent student engagement. Mr. Jones has a short conversation with the teacher and then walks out. What do you think? Is it a traditional classroom or a modern classroom? Make a choice and then make sure to underline one sentence in the scene that supports your answer. Number 5. Good morning, class. I've updated the pacing tracker. So before we begin today, I want you to notice what word you see next to your name for lesson 3. Those of you with the word revise, I want you to meet me at the back table for a quick reteaching session. Those of you that see the word mastered, you can move on to lesson 4. If the spot is blank next to your name, it means you need to do your best to catch up and to be on pace for this lesson. Remember, you are in charge of your time, your choices, and your learning in this class. Now, let's get started for the hour. What do you think? Is it a traditional classroom or a modern classroom? Make sure you underline one sentence in scene 5 that supports your answer. Now stop and figure out which person in your group has the last name with the most letters. Put a check next to that person's name on the front of the paper. Then look around the room for the answer key. Send the person with the check mark up to the answer key station with your paper to quickly check your answers. Then move on to part 2. Part number 2. Based on what you read, answer the following questions. What are 2 characteristics of a traditional classroom? What are 2 characteristics of a modern classroom? Once you're done answering those questions, Then, yay, you're done. Please have the person with the least amount of letters in their last name turn this paper into your teacher. If you followed all the directions, you will get a special reward.